I'm Dylan Ratigan. I've interviewed nearly every CEO and most world leaders during the past 25 years. And now on Bootstrapping, I'm turning my attention to the new CEOs and the irrepressible entrepreneurs leading the next generation of innovation in the world. Welcome back to tastylive. I am Dylan Ratigan. It's time for another episode of Bootstrapping. My guest today, Gert Van Wyk. He's in Johannesburg. He's happy. I'm happy. I'm in New York. So location doesn't really matter. But either way, we're here. And he co-founded a company called Biocertica. They are based in South Africa, which is where he's based. They're actually raising money on the Republic platform as we speak. And we met a few other Republic fundraising leaders, or I would say leaders of portfolio companies on the platform. And some very impressive people. And so you got a high bar now, Gert, that you're representing not just yourself, but the platform. But you got to. So, but all joking aside, what is Biocertica? What do you do, and what are you actually raising money for?
Thanks for the opportunity to be here and to speak to your audience. So ultimately, everybody's talking about longevity, right? But what is it really? And you think about longevity, it's a whole bunch of micro decisions taken over the course of your life, right? And those decisions kind of happen at the point of purchase: what to eat, what exercise to do, what medicines to do, to take. So if you have like this wellness advisor in a box that can help you with these buying decisions, that would be amazing, right? And in theory, it will increase your longevity over a period of time. This is exactly what Biocertica does. It introduces this wellness advisor concept when you're making these purchases, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're at night and you're depressed over something and you go to the fridge and you open up something, guess what? There's only going to be good food there for you that matches up with your genetics, right? And this is what's our unique selling point, is that we use genetics and personal and bioinformation, not just behavioral traits, to essentially create this personalized buying experience. So we take a look into what's going on in your body and then make health-based recommendations. And we take it at one step further. Yeah. So that's in essence what we do.
So the obvious people to buy into that as a service, which is obviously is on the one hand, the individual, the wellness communities of the world, where there's a value. But I would also think institutionally that potentially the insurance companies or some of the health, like some of the people that are paying for health insurance, if you legitimately can say, if you deploy my technology, I will change the math on the cost of coverage of a person over time. That would seem to. Have you gotten to the point where you've had to prove your value to that threshold with this yet?
Yeah, essentially your question goes two ways. It's the preventative health side of things, where you want to go and live better, and there you pay out of pocket. And then the guy actually has the problem already. And this is really where the insurance aspect to this can really drive this whole genetic concept forward. And specifically on the precision medicine side of things, where you essentially can get bespoke advice as to what medications works better for your body. And that's not fluffy science at all. And there's been proven studies out there in the market that says you can improve the quality of life of a person up to 30% when you introduce this into their medication regimen. And this is the type of conversations we're having with insurance companies currently. Obviously, there's regulation, as it should be, and it must be done in an ethical way. And this is where we introduce like this digital ID, so you can track everything through it. Yeah.
But I think you hit on the hot button there, and at the end of the last answer, which is, okay, great, you got it. You're the Wizard of Oz, right? Which water to drink when, and which lettuce, and which person, and quality of life goes up, lifespan goes out, cost of life goes down, quality of life goes up. Magic pill. But the trade is, Gert knows everything. Or some equivalent of Gert has some AI, not even Gert, some robot has access to everything. And I'm not doing that. I'm not spitting in your cup, putting that thing up my nose. Go away.
This is a big concern, especially if you look at the current companies who's been selling these tests since 2007. They've essentially gone and contracted away all your rights to your data, which is essentially yours, right? And gone and sold these data to third-party users like BlackRock and so I don't know if I can say the name, but
Yeah, no, anything. Yeah. I mean, it was just
at the end of the
at the
day,
end of the
yeah, at the end of the day, we're doing things a bit different. Yes, we're a digital first platform, but we're also privacy first. So you want to benefits of your data without essentially providing the rights to your data away. And it's great that we have.
But do people trust you? Again, I would say I'm going to assume you're telling me the truth, but I also imagine it's difficult for you to get people to believe you in this market.
What we found is different jurisdictions put the weighting on trust different. Like the guys in Finland, they won't trust you no matter how sound your cryptographics is, But if you go to the US, people are more inclined to believe the benefits that the product will bring, as opposed to necessarily just the data privacy of it.
Some people are less worried about it than others, culturally, globally.
Because they find, yeah, exactly. There's more benefits to me actually going through this process with all its inherent risks. And we do try to hedge out a lot of that. And those are the markets that we really want to approach. And
you said that's America as one of those markets.
One of those markets. We've been in Europe and we've spoken to a lot of people. And it's interestingly, the more south you go, the more people are inclined to.
The Northerners are more tight with their spit.
Yeah, you can tell them anything. They're not gonna budge on anything. It's good. But
you walk around in Helsinki, I wish you good luck.
Yeah.
We go to Miami, everybody will play ball. Where do I spit?
Yeah, we actually won a venture prize out in Finland, so I know them by heart. But
that's an interesting psychological study. Like you could do a book. It's like an organizing principle. Then you have two sample groups because you have one group that has genetic data, and do they have a better quality of life or not? Yeah. It'll test your whole thesis. We'll see how the people in Copenhagen do versus. I mean, you got a lot of other variables to control for, but still, it's an interesting.
No, it is. And not everybody should be the same. And you've got the adoption curve at the end of the day. You've got your early adopters, you've got the chasm, and then you've got the late adopters. So this is the same with the market from a global perspective as well. So you fight the markets where you can, early adoption, and you get the late adopters later on. So yes, Dylan didn't die by spitting into a cup. He's actually looking 20 years younger. So yeah, maybe it's not all bad. I'll come and do it. Yeah.
Like it's like laser eye surgery in the early days. You're like, I don't want to put that laser beam in my eyeball. I'm not doing that. I'll keep my glasses.
Yeah.
But what's different from what you're doing from, let's say, Ancestry or the big American brands in genetics that are doing sort of consumer genetics? And I'm sure they have a similar boardroom where they're like, oh, well, we can optimize for health and we can optimize for health outcomes. And so what's different between what you're offering? It's Biocentrica, you say?
Biocetica, but yeah.
Biocetica. No, it's important. I got to make sure I should know. Biocertica. How is that different than Ancestry?
Yeah, so I think ultimately it's the frequency of data usage. Your genetics is pretty much static to a large degree, and you get your results, and the user engagement kind of dies down. You get your results, it's fine for a week. You tell your friends, and then it goes away. You can't really use that into actionable insights daily. And what we actually do is we take that data and increase the frequency of use to a daily database. So it becomes useful to the user, actually. So I think that's point one. And using genetics to provide product recommendations is a nice novel concept, but we're not alone in doing this. Nestle is doing it, L'Oreal is doing it, even Airbnb is doing it to a certain extent, right? But what we're trying to do is not make recommendations to one product. We've got this one-to-many relationship where we say, well, we enable a user to share their data safely, securely with various...
So you're like a digital wallet for my DNA. You're on the buy side, not the sell side as a product.
That's one thing. And the second thing to this is we enable smaller SMMEs which is not Nestle. They don't get the tech budget that Nestle has, and we enable them to have like the same type of tech that Nestle has. So with this product recommendations, so instead of coming to a
So
wellness
you're saying
advisor,
a single Padrino, a little Italian business, a one-man show in Italy, in Milan, can have access to Nestle's customer data in terms of targeting or whatever the jujitsu. Is that what you mean? Or
yeah,
product
essentially
formation?
the product information. So say this retailer has 1,000 products and he wants to increase basket size. He would contact Biocetica, we'll provide him the tech, and we'll funnel the users to his store. And instead of them seeing like 1,000 products, they see maybe the 5 that they really
products
need.
that match their gene codes optimization.
Exactly.
So you could be like the tomato, you could have a deal with the tomato dealer in Italy just as well as you could have a deal with, Global Healthcare and United or whatever.
Correct. And this makes it really scalable, ultimately. And you can take your 23andMe data or your ancestry data, or you can do a Biocetica test and you can upload it into the system, and we can provide that recommendation.
And then if I have a Biocetica profile, Biocetica profile feeds me a curated, a sort of a selected list of available products that matches that data set.
That's correct. Yeah.
And then theoretically Biocetica back matches into like whatever. This is anything. But you can't fix the air quality when the fires are burning. So don't get too excited. There's always a problem.
There's other people with real passions to fix that. It's not me. Not that I support them.
Epigenetics, when you're epigenetics, but still it's an admirable cause. But it's a doom. I just want you to know it's a beautiful mission, but you're doomed. That's all I'm telling you. Like everybody's going down. But you might as well enjoy yourself.
Nobody gets out alive.
No. And so then how is the actual bit? So at least I feel like I understand the idea. And I think people who watch this will understand this idea, which is helpful. But what's the business then? So you're raising money, what are you using the money for? What's going on here? And then we'll wrap it up. What are you doing?
So currently we've built the genetic underlay for this matching algorithm. We've run the minimum viable product. We've got some good users going through the process, and ultimately now it's scaling up the technology to a point where you can introduce it into the US market and select UK and EU markets. So that's why we're raising money to accelerate the product build, and then obviously we're raising 1.6 million US. That's on the Republic platform. So, and it will bring it to a post-money valuation of about 10.6 currently. And most of that money will be deployed on development and expanding the legal side of things so we can actually operate in these markets.
So jurisdiction, regulatory, and sales is the raise.
Okay. Correct. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So.
Okay. It's a pleasure. I love the idea. I wish you all the best. It's ambitious and beautiful. So good luck.
So anyway to fly. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Gert Van Wyk, Biocetica. You're watching Tasty Live. This is Bootstrapping. I'm Dylan Ratigan. More with the normal, regular, Sosnoff and his pals after this.